Dance of the Hours, viola. Hi guys, in this video we're going to talk about Dance of the Hours, the viola part, and a few things again before we start. Make sure before you start playing the piece you go over all the details that you have and circle them or highlight them, like such as pizzicato, arco, all these things, because you're going to change between those two quite often. So make sure you realize what you have written in the part, so then by the time you get to that specific section you would be able to play it correctly. So starting from the top, B flats, E flats, obviously you know your notes. B flat will be low second, A flat low first, and then for arco you start with your tremolo. It's half notes with 3 dashes. 3 dashes would be tremolo. So as soon as you're done with your arco, you would move your bow to the tip of your bow and then start tremolo. Now for tremolos, you don't have to play it extremely fast, as long as you keep your hand very relaxed and count the beats. You don't need to count how many times you go up and down at all, but count the beats like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, so on. And it doesn't need to be extremely fast, doesn't need to be like that. Make sure when you play tremolos, make sure your wrist is very relaxed, your right hand wrist is very relaxed and normal. Then for C sharp, low fourth, back to low fourth on all of these. Normal third for C natural and low fourth, and then back to normal third for regular G. As you play tremolos and you get louder, you can move off with your bow to be in the middle almost, and then take a quick rest, and then start down bow on forte. Continuing, follow your wrists. Realize how many wrists you have. Don't come in before or after, just count properly and then come in right on time. D sharp would be low first finger on D string, right here. That's D, that's D sharp. This is E, D sharp on the white tape. Moving on, you go back to pizzicato, E flat, low first finger, then arco, A, C, D. Then again, G would be pizzicato, then arco again. And you know who plays the top note, who plays the bottom notes. F natural, low second finger, F sharp in parentheses, even though you don't need to have one in parentheses, but just in case, that would be high second finger, and then you have a retardando here. Don't forget that there's a retardando. Then you start the melody. So 1, 2, it gets slower, 1, 2, 3, and then right. Don't forget the second eighth notes of each group of 2 is a staccato. So see, like that. You could either do 2, 1, 2, 1, or play your second finger, play low 2, move it quickly here, but it would be the best if you can use the same fingerings as you have. With crescendo and a retardando and E flat also would be low first. Everything is pretty much self-explanatory. There's nothing complicated about this. Just make sure you follow what you see. C sharp here would be high second, with E being on fourth finger on A string. Moving on to the next page, we change time signature is now 3/4. Instead of 4/4, where you have 4 beats per measure as quarter notes, here you have 3 beats per measure, still quarter notes. Make sure you follow the bowings very slow, and then you end with triple P's and also fermata. At 73, there is allegro vivo, which means lively and very fast. You have A, B flat, A, B flat, A, and try to be at the frog right here. the bow is a down bow, and you are the frog with accents, as you can see, and fortissimo. So like that. Then at 77, not only you have accent G and forte, but also realize that your sign starts at 77. So right? So make sure F is very loud and clear, and then all these other ones are piano and staccato. Don't forget about retaking your bow. See, accent, retake, accent, retake. Every time you do that, you have to retake to the frog, back to the frog of your bow. So make sure you do that, but don't forget to exaggerate on your dynamic. Moving on at 85, same thing as 77. Continue all the way to here where it says to coda. This time you're not doing anything because you haven't done the DSL coda yet. But realize that the coda is right here after measure 91. Now, what I would suggest is to color code these two. You could technically put this like orange highlighter for the sign, back to the sign, and the coda back to this coda. That way you would, by the time you look at them and reach there, you would be able to know where you have to go after that point. So continuing from the coda, you continue all the way. Realize that at 93 there is a repeat sign. Going to this part, you take the first ending, A sharp. After the B, which would be your normal second finger on, high second finger on G, A sharp is high first, back to B. Since you're going to use B again, you just use high first for A sharp, back to B. So B's on the red tape, you raise your first finger for white, after yellow, or white before red, for A sharp, back to B. And then D sharp, which is low first finger on D string. Then you take the repeat, then second ending. Then when you go to the DSL coda, you go back to the sign, which is measure 77. This time, when you get to the end of measure 91, where literally where the coda sign is, that's where you have to stop. So make sure you do play this measure, not here. You play this measure and then you play the coda. Now, within the coda part, there is also a rest. There is also repeat that you take back to this part. G sharp is low fourth finger, so G natural, third, G sharp, low fourth. See? And again. Make sure you use low fourth finger for G sharp. Then retake back to 113. And then continue from here, the second ending. Very easy, you just play open D for the most part. Just follow exactly what the beats are. You have one, rest, one. So E, D, and then downbeat, then pick up to the next beats, next measures as they come. So then you continue like that all the way to the end. Down, up, down, rest, down bow, pick up, down bow, pick up. Retake, down bow, retake. Then the last measure, as you see in the parentheses, you end with an up bow. Everything from 122 to the end, that's the coda, that's the ending of the piece, is constantly loud. So make sure you use as much bow as you can, even though the notes are happening pretty quickly. Use a lot of bow and make sure you make it sound very loud and clear. So once again, this piece is not challenging note-wise. As you can see, you only have quarters, eighth, and half. You just have to make sure you're acknowledging all the details. And of course, that requires you to practice slowly and read the music properly to the point that you would be able to do the pieces very slow, line by line, and absorb everything that's on the page. So when you practice it, you would learn it in the right way the first time. To help you doing that, you can also write down any extra information you need. Highlight the specific parts, write down specific fingerings for the notes that you don't know, and circle all the retakes as I've done it here. If you look at a page like this, you would already have a lot of extra information highlighted at you, so that you would be able to acknowledge and realize them much faster. That's all I have to say about this piece. Thanks and have fun practicing, guys.